Did you know JPMorgan sold off 25% of their MicroStrategy shares as if they knew that MSCI said that Bitcoin Treasury companies were unlikely to be included in the index? Perfect timing. In our last episode Friday, I talked about how JPMorgan was potentially manipulating the MicroStrategy stock. Well, an article from Marilyn HODL with over 1 million views articulates perfectly what I suspected was happening. Trump and the White House are battling JPMorgan and the establishment. There's a battle going on under the surface. Trump versus the Morgans. The White House versus Wall Street. The Treasury versus the Fed. One is fighting for centralized control. The other is fighting for decentralized freedom. If I'm reading between the lines correctly, I think that the Trump family would love nothing more than to see the banks crumble. Donald Trump declared war on the head of the U.S. banking system when it named JPMorgan and Chase Bank amongst a number of other people involved in a case that would bring this country to its knees. And he ordered that the Epstein files be released in 30 days. On the 250th anniversary of the United States in July, I believe that this administration is going to make a major chess move. A move to try to supplant the old financial system with the new one. Why do you think Bo Hines left the White House so abruptly to go work for Tether? The fight for systematic control from the Fed and the banks in the Wall Street is happening against Bitcoin, stablecoins, and the White House. That's the volatility we've been seeing. We're in the beginning of an economic civil war, and we're going to dive into it today. This is Dante Cook with Bitcoin Simply. Let's go.
The banks have had a monopoly on the financial system for years, and they did everything they could to not embrace cryptocurrency until they realized that cryptocurrency had become so big that if they didn't embrace it, they died. They saw the growth of Coinbase. They saw the growth of Robinhood. They saw the growth of DeFi. They saw the trillions going into Bitcoin and in these major capital markets. And now all of a sudden, all the banks are embracing it. But I got into cryptocurrency because I didn't have a damn choice. They debanked me for doing absolutely nothing wrong. These are golf courses. These are golf courses in upstate New York. These are restaurants. These are assets that have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of employees and members. Literally, you're getting a letter, your accounts are hereby canceled and you can't pay your employees. They can't put bread on their table because they didn't like your political affiliation. It wasn't even, it was my father's political affiliation. He was the one. I'm not a politician. I'm not in politics. And yet we were canceled like we were dogs. And honestly, it was a blessing in disguise because it made me find cryptocurrency, and I'm so happy I did.
If this clip doesn't sound like the backdrop or the setup from a Christopher Nolan movie for a hero or a villain, then I don't know what does. He said that we were canceled like dogs. The Trump family has been very vocal about their distrust of the banking system, specifically after they were debanked for their political views, them and other cryptocurrencies. Listen to this clip of Eric Trump talking about how he would love nothing more than for the cryptocurrency movement to supplant the banks altogether.
Our financial system is so dishonest. It is so incredibly dishonest. And I would love nothing more than to see blockchain replace so many of these institutions that have been so punitive to so many people. Let me give you one other secret. The people in our financial system who have always had the advantage are guys like us, right? Powerful companies with famous last names, with a lot of zeros on their balance sheet. They have been the worst for the average retail consumer who doesn't stand a chance against a traditional financial system. They have no leverage, they have no negotiation power, and they get feed to death. Crypto solves all of that. Blockchain solves all of that. There is nothing that can't be done on blockchain that JPMorgan Chase can do, that Bank of America, that can't be done better, faster, cheaper, and more transparently. And I think that's a wonderful thing for humanity. I think that's a wonderful thing for the people of our country. And I think that's a wonderful thing in putting real checks and balances on the very people who weaponize the financial system against people that they didn't like for political reasons.
The Joker is revealing himself in real time. And what was a private matter with Eric Trump and their private companies is now becoming a public matter. As soon as Donald Trump posted this on Truth Social, talking about JPMorgan and Chase being implicated amongst a number of other people in the Epstein case, a case that would bring the United States to its knees if released. And now the Justice Department, after this bill that he signed on Thursday, has just 30 days to release the files. This is going to be the first hostile act performed in this economic civil war. But that's the front page news. What's happening in the background? Well, the Treasury has been building new financial plumbing through stablecoins. Tether is the main way this administration is going to usurp the banks. This is exactly why they sent Bo Hines there in the first place. They needed a Washington connection, and Tether is much bigger than people think. Look at this clip that Bo Hines just posted on Twitter. Let's take a listen to the clip.
I had dinner last night with Paulo Arduino, CEO, founder of Tether.
Can't wait to meet him.
Amazing, amazing guy. That is an incredible business.
What do they got, 150 billion in treasuries now?
It is an incredible, and here's why that business is incredible. This is what I learned.
You're talking about Tether, the stablecoin.
Tether, the stablecoin.
Yes.
There are 500 million people using US dollar-backed stablecoins from Tether all around the world, all over Africa, all over Central America, all over Asia, number one. Number two, his user base is growing by 30 million users a quarter. It's the financial inclusion that then ties back to US dollar hegemony is unbelievable.
When you dig down to the mechanics of what's happening, the United States needs a new buyer of its debt to sustain itself. We're running at a debt deficit of 5 to 6% of GDP. And so when institutions in foreign countries no longer buy our debt, well, we need a new buyer. And we get a new buyer of debt anytime anyone in the world wants a Tether dollar or a USDT. They buy short-term treasuries when people get these synthetic dollars. Therefore, the new buyer of dollars is going to be everyday people. They're looking to replace the financial system. Here's a clip from Bo Hines and Paolo himself.
I'll start with Genius because our intention with Genius was to get the best and brightest back to the US in order to innovate and build and be interoperable with our capital markets. And that's what we've done today in launching this product. So obviously our goal is to revolutionize the financial system. It's to create more efficient transactions with instant settlement times that are more cost effective for the American consumer.
If this isn't a shot at the banks, then I don't know what is. But Dante, what does this have to do with Bitcoin? Well, let me show you. Bitcoin is actually the future evolution of all of these beginning acts. Listen to this clip from an interview that Nico did with Paolo just a few weeks ago.
How do you feel? As the CEO of the most profitable company on planet Earth, how do you feel about Bitcoin? Are we still early? Are you feeling bullish?
Every time we get an interest from, we get interest, we make money on the interest on the US treasuries, we buy Bitcoin and gold. We own altogether with Tether owns more than 110,000, 120,000 Bitcoin. Just last quarter we bought 8,888 Bitcoin, and I'm very bullish on Bitcoin simply because I like to think about the future in logical steps and most probable outcomes, and I fail to understand, given enough amount of time, it's hard to predict if it's like 10 years or 50, but I fail to understand how Bitcoin will not be the most used currency in the world and will be the check and balances of the world as a currency.
Before we go any further in the clip, it does get better. Let's thank our sponsors. Ledin has been the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans since 2018, issuing over $9 billion worth of loans to tens of thousands of customers across the globe. Ledin is just one of the many Bitcoin companies that align around the value of never sell your Bitcoin, except they give you a tangible way to do that, to borrow against it without selling it. If you want a $1,000 fiat loan but don't want to sell your Bitcoin, well, post $2,000 of Bitcoin collateral. Fiat is in your account in less than 6 hours and the application takes just 2 minutes. Go to learn.ledn.ao/simply to get 0.25% off your first loan. These loans start at just 12.4%, and again, there's no credit check. Repay them at any time. Go to learn.ledn.ao/simply to get started. Oh, in the Bitcoin way. The way that you learn now to become sovereign is you start practicing. You get a coach, someone to teach you the fundamentals, the basics of how to remove your Bitcoin from an exchange after you purchase it. Well, you can schedule a free 30-minute consultation with the team at thebitcoinway.com. Members of their team will walk you through step by step, from purchasing your Bitcoin to withdrawing it, to setting up a node, to having full custody, to having your private keys removed from exchanges so that you're fully sovereign. Schedule a free 30-minute consultation with the team at thebitcoinway.com/simplybitcoin.
Today is still, I think we are early because it's a cultural thing, right? If you take a person, you put in front of that person two currencies, one that is made by a human and another one that is made by math. So by, the physics of the universe. Still, most of the people prefer the one made by humans. To me, it's very crazy because you should trust the universe, you should trust us math, right? So, you've been taught at school that math is this amazing thing that can create proofs that cannot be destroyed even by God. And on the other side, you have a human that changes every 4 years and might wake up one day and change the monetary policy. But still, people still prefer, and many people prefer like the human money. And to me, means that we are very early. But it's one of these things that could happen in the future, and it happened a few times in the past, is the fact there could be an event in the world that will be so catastrophic that will force everyone to be onto Bitcoin very quickly. And not hoping for that, of course, that would be very bad. But I think that we need to think about the fact and what we should be doing in order to prepare for even an event like that. Hopefully there will be a gradual adoption. But I think we are actually not ready for a surge in Bitcoin. So I think the price we got today is the right price for today. Markets are always right, but independent from that.
All right, back to the episode. Did you hear that? He actually loves dips like these. He doesn't want the price to explode fast. This gives his company, one of the most profitable companies in the world, a way to gradually and continually buy more Bitcoin. He's one of the most financially savvy and powerful men in the world right now. And he's putting his money where his mouth is, because every time they earn money on the interest payments, what do? They buy Bitcoin and gold, hard sovereign assets. And he believes that we're still early. The move from a human-based currency system to a math-based currency system is just beginning. So right now, you may see the dislocation in the markets, with gold being the best performing asset at 55% this year and Bitcoin being down 9%. But you have to take a long-term view. Look at this chart. Bitcoin is no stranger to being the worst performing asset in the world. In fact, it's been the worst performing asset 3 other times. But look at the last 11. It's been the best performing asset in the world 11 out of the last 14 years, and the best overall performing asset on this chart by a mile. Don't be shaken out of your positions. You're going to continue to hear more and more FUD like this from the CEO of Van Eck.
There's something else going on within the Bitcoin community that kind of non-crypto people need to know about. And that is ultimately, Van Eck has been around before Bitcoin. We will walk away from Bitcoin if we think the thesis is fundamentally broken. We don't right now. But you always have to look at the underlying technology. And the Bitcoin community has been asking itself about, is there enough encryption in Bitcoin? Because quantum computing is coming. And then secondly, is there enough privacy in Bitcoin? And so a lot of Bitcoin OGs or maxis have been looking at Zcash. And Zcash,
what's that?
Zcash is a token. It's sort of related to Bitcoin with a lot more privacy. Because the kind of garbage that we got about Bitcoin 4 years ago is it's like used for all bad illicit behavior. But now everyone kind of realizes when you move money around on the Bitcoin blockchain, you can see it. You can see it move from one wallet to another. And a lot of people are looking for more privacy.
Point number 1. If quantum computing actually comes, why would we be worried about Bitcoin first? We wouldn't be worried about nuclear codes. We wouldn't be worried about our bank accounts. We wouldn't be worried about our passcodes to every internet service that we have in the world. We would be worried about Bitcoin, a $2 trillion asset. Next, no maxi that I know is actually talking about Zcash. Understand that this is just an IQ test. And the people who are able to sustain themselves and not look to the left or to the right during this cycle are going to be the ones that win in the long term. They'll be called stupid now, but smart 20 years from now. The battle for economic power is happening between the old guard and the new guard, and Bitcoin is at the center of it. When dollars are minted through Tether, the new weapon for the new guard, they're buying Bitcoin. What are you doing? One of the ways that you can continue earning Bitcoin while you sleep so that you don't have to just go and hit a button or buy on an exchange when you see a dip is through mining Bitcoin. It's another way to get sats directly into your wallet without using US dollars. Well, you do that through buying a state-of-the-art mining rig through SAS Mining, and they have no markups, no middlemen, or no contracts in between. It's just you and your sats and your machines working for you. And if you care about the environment, they do this through 100% carbon-free energy and 100% renewable energy. They're aligned with your values, and they only make money as a company when you make money. Use the QR code on the screen to get started to mine sats while you sleep and become a more sovereign individual. This is Dante Cook with Bitcoin Simply. Happy stacking.